Auntie Shude's curry catfish and white rice is one of the most memorable gastronomic delights of my childhood. Auntie Shude, as we called her, and my mom met at a sewing class, and that relationship continued when my mom got married at the tender age of 15 and moved to my dad's village, a few streets away from Auntie Shude. She served as my second mom, and I ate dinner at both houses ever so often. Brother Mikey would bring a plate over, or I'd stop by after my evening jogs around the savannah. Whether you like fish or not, let's start cooking! First, we'll start by scraping off the surface of the catfish. We will remove that gunk. I don't know what it is, and I don't want to know what it is. Next, we'll cut the catfish into small pieces. And this was very difficult to do because the catfish has a really tough bone. It was very difficult even with the chopper. So I'd suggest if you're buying it from the fish market to have them cut the catfish for you. Even with a chopper, it was flying all over the place.
Can you kill me?
Next, because we're keeping the head, my mom loves the head, we'll remove the whiskers. I'm sure there's a better term for it, but whiskers is all I know. To wash the catfish, to remove any freshness, we'll wash with all-purpose flour and lemon juice, rubbing to remove anything from the surface. I'll rinse a couple of times with cold water until it runs clear and everything looks nice and clean. Next, we'll drain off all the excess water from the fish and we'll season it. I have 8 tablespoons of green seasoning, 3 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, a half an onion, and 1 large tomato. Next, I'll heat about 4 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil in a wide saucepan over medium heat. I'll add the onion and hot pepper and cook until the edges become brown. Next, I'll add about 6 tablespoons of curry powder along with about a half a cup of water and 2 tablespoons of green seasoning and cook for a couple of minutes until it's grainy and fragrant. I usually mix it in a small bowl on the side, but because the onions were getting too brown, we had to make haste. But both methods work the same. It's important to cook this well until the curry separates from the oil to develop the flavors of the curry and to eliminate that raw taste. Raise the heat to high. Cook that for about 5 to 7 minutes. When the curry begins to stick, that's a good indication that you need to get your fish ready to add to the pot. Cook it for a minute more, continuously stirring, and then we'll add the fish. Next, I'll add about 1 pound of green mango, which really complements the flavor of the fish. You can also use June plum or pomsite, as we call it in Trinidad. This is a large amount for the quantity of fish, so you could use half a pound. Next, I'll raise the heat to high and give it a good stir to combine all those delicious flavors. And if you're looking on in disbelief at how much I'm stirring this fish, there is a method to my madness. And I'll share with you why in just a moment. Remember Cousin Mikey? Cousin Mikey said to keep mixing this like it's chicken, so that's what I'm doing. Usually I don't stir fish too much, but apparently that is necessary for catfish. It has a lovely, vibrant color. I'm just going to continue to stir it until it begins to stick. Clean down the sides. We're using simple seasonings and you'll be surprised at the results. Sometimes we tend to just add too many ingredients to our meals, just complicates the natural flavor. I'll put some water to boil in the kettle, and once that's boiled we'll add it to the fish and then cook it for about 15 to 20 minutes. You see, catfish is a very firm fish and it's not breaking up, which is why we can stir it like this. We'll stop stirring as soon as the fish changes color and begins to cook. I'm adding 1 more teaspoon of salt because there's not much more we have to do after this point. It's a very simple dish to make. Now I'll add the hot water and allow it to cook for 15 to 20 minutes. Just make sure that they're all immersed. The heat is still on high. You're going to get some nice thick sauce today to eat with our rice or oil down or boil and fry cassava, boiled ground provision, or even paratha roti. Because this is a white pan, I'm using about 5 cups of water. If you're using a narrower pan, you may require less. Okay, I'll bring it to a boil and allow it to cook. I've added another teaspoon of salt. The amount of salt you need will vary depending on the amount of liquid or sauce you require. And I'm also going to add some fresh chopped scallion. If you have bandanya or shadobani, you can use that. We don't have any at the moment, so this will have to work. Even though we want a lot of sauce, it's still rather liquidy, so we'll continue to cook it for a couple more minutes. And make sure the mango is also surrendering to this delicious sauce, curry sauce. It still looks a little firm, so that requires a little more cooking as well. As it cooks, it will relinquish its flavors and everything will be joined in holy matrimony, as I always say. Give it a taste. So good. I could drink that like a soup right now. The 20 minutes is up and looks good, smells good, tastes good. Everything's just good. I'm going to leave a little sauce here. It will continue to thicken. As it cools, you'll taste for salt and see if it needs anything else. Perfect. Absolutely scrumptious. and delicious. You could continue to cook it down if you want your sauce a little thicker, but I'll leave it like this because I don't know if I'm making dumplings or paratha or rice yet, so we'll see how it goes. I actually continued to cook the catfish for about 5 minutes more to thicken up the sauce, and this is exactly how I remembered it from childhood. Absolutely scrumptious and delicious. That's all there is to it, my sweet friends. Thank you so much for joining me once again. If you enjoyed today's video or learned something new, please like, share, comment, and subscribe if you wish to be a part of the Cooking with Ria family. Until next time, stay safe, be well, cook, share, and love. Bye bye.